parliament so that Kenyans cannot be able to participate in something that when it goes haywire, you lose it, as you just said it. Why don't you propose a legislation so that we can adopt it as a house and protect Kenyans from dealing with this kind of thing? Because these are emergence or post-COVID. These are financial tactics from post-COVID issues from the West. So we must protect the shilling, protect the people of Kenya from this. I propose that please share this in cabinet and give us a proposed legislation to control the emergence of fake or moribund trading tools.
Yes, you can take up those questions, please.
Thank you very much, and thank you for those questions. Let me start by, does it affect the economy? You see, the way these cryptocurrencies are traded is through your own wallets. For example, I send to your wallet several units of the cryptocurrency.
Yes. You need to tell him what is wallet. You may think it's a wallet in the pocket, but these are software.
It's actually like a virtual. No, it's the same thing. It's the same thing as just like the wallet in your pocket. It is the same like a virtual wallet. So essentially, I'm transferring the value, the units of that cryptocurrency to your, should I say, account, which you have opened within the same kind of structure of, let's call it, like the common one here in Kenya is Bitcoin. Now, it means that I'm transferring units of Bitcoin to your account. But don't forget that we don't know how it is generated. For example, if I put $100 in your account, you already know the value of the dollar. It is protected because it's a legal tender for the U.S. government. But secondly, it is a worldwide currency, so we are used to holding the dollar just to protect yourself, to protect your wealth from devouring. So essentially, it is known. But now that unit I've transferred to your account called Bitcoin is not money. It's actually a trading instrument. I have to go to a point of service to transform it from what it is to Kenya shillings. Right now, if you ask me, just like you said, and that is a good point that you made, you don't know. Because right now, if I ask you, what is the Bitcoin trading at in Kenya shillings terms, you may not know. We may not know. The second point, because I just wanted to make sure that we agree with you, your point is that on the basis, for example, a fiat currency, that's the difference between, like, Kenyan shillings is a fiat currency. We control the supply and demand conditions of that shilling, or even the quantity of the currency, and it means that we can use instruments to control its demand and supply conditions. But this one, you have no way of knowing who owns it, how is it generated. Do you know? To agree with you is that one of the things is, first of all, is awareness. If you are holding an instrument which you don't know the value, if you are holding an instrument which you cannot track the value, if you are holding an instrument that you do not know who influences the demand and supply conditions, then you should not hold it. And I think you are right. Maybe we should come and say, we do not want to tell you not to hold it, but you are holding it at your own risk, because that's the only way we can do. But now, if it becomes widespread, it is also going to affect our payment system. And it's also going to affect people's wealth, people's holding of assets, and depletion of those assets. And that is what Matu was actually saying. We need to come up and showcase in terms of how can we monitor even their movements. I started by saying they were actually established. Cryptocurrencies were started many years back because it was a frustration that you want to send remittances. If you're sending remittances, there are conditions across border. They fix the exchange rate and they fix the price, the cost of sending. And it was not very flexible. So in a sense, they said, if I transfer from account to account on this cryptocurrency, which is an informal trade, then actually you can overcome this kind of barriers of cross payments. Then it will work. But let me offer some solution, maybe some hope. Right now, and Matu should may comment on this, we are coming up with payment system, and especially in the Comesa region. and that payment system is going to be currency neutral. So it allows us a seamless way of trading, especially in the African continental free trade area. So it allows us even to trade across borders without any hitch in terms of where is the clearing system going to be. That is why we are saying it's a payment system that is currency neutral, and maybe, I don't know whether Matu has information about that. It was pioneered by Afri-Exim Bank, but we do believe that is what is going to facilitate trade.
Yeah, just to pick up on where the CS has left, and to talk about the issue, because the issue is remittances and the cost of remittances, and also intra-Africa trade that he's referencing. So we are actually working with our colleagues in the East African community. So we have what we call the East African payment system. It's already in existence, but we want to scale that up to facilitate trade within the EAC. But also within COMESA, there's also a system that has been there, but we also need to revive it. And then on the broader level, this is new, the Pan-African payment system, which is being promoted by the Afri-Exim Bank and other central banks. So this is expected to be rolled out in 2024, 2025, and Kenya is actually one of the candidates potentially to host that. That should also address the issues that are being referenced to about cross-border transfers and also intra-Africa payments solutions.
Okay, I think one thing I'm very happy about is that Treasury has taken a step forward to develop a regulatory and monetary framework. I think that is very positive, because see, last regime in CBK, they were not really ready to undertake such a thing. I think that is, to me, that is very, very important, and I think we are moving somewhere, because as we speak, there are around 23,000 cryptocurrencies circulating, and I'll tell my brother, I'll take him somewhere whereby they are being developed here in Nairobi. Buying is your choice, but you can see how they are being developed, and you can see being traded, some trading taking place, but don't expect them to be in your wallet, in your pocket. But to me, yes, this is a very good thing. I think we are seeing somewhere to regulate it, to control it. I think that's the most hardest part of it, because this is not something you can see. This is not something you can say, don't do this, don't do this. But the good thing is that we need to make Kenyans aware that the risk involved, because they understand one day one of them can be $100,000, the following day it comes to $5,000 or $0. So the value. So I think with a few remarks, thank you very much, CS and your group. What the chair said, I think you need to do it so that at least we can have a response, a good response in Treasury. So thank you very much. The meeting stands adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you very much. We continue warning Kenyans about the dangers of the cryptocurrency, but also we are going to correct the data and send it to you by tomorrow.
Before you leave, no, just a minute. Before you leave, the chair is talking about CDF. Yesterday in the afternoon, it was a bit difficulty in the House. The House was adjourned because there was no quorum. Members walked out. Everybody is worried that we are going on recess for 2 months. Up to now, we have not got CDF money. Children are going to school in January, and most of the children, they depend on this, the bursaries from CDF. Maybe you can give us a statement on that. Because the first thing we are going to be asked is that we met with the CS. What did he say? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, CS. So that's just a rider on that. This has been a thorn in the flesh for many Kenyans and us, Bwana CS, issue of NGCDF funding. And the other time, you remember the last time when we were in Mombasa, it also brought a stalemate. I don't know why it really has to keep on recurring this fund, this disbursement, yet it is quite sensitive for members and it is quite sensitive for the country. So probably as you respond, you would also like to see in future, would not like to see these kind of ugly scenarios, especially on this particular fund. Thank you.
You can go on, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me say this, and with a lot of humility, because I came in very late last night or early this morning, and I was coming from COP28, and we take advantage of the COP28 to actually talk to bilaterals, and that's why His Excellency is actually in India right now. The message is very clear for us, is that things we don't know. The other day I was saying, kwa nini hii dunia imetuthuru namna hii? You know, we have to understand, you know, it is our country, dear members, and we have to understand. I narrated the whole situation. We had a big session where I said, in 1 year, Kenya has gone into two extremes. There's a severe drought, and now there is El Nino. In both cases, we have reallocated budget, supplementary budget, and recurrent budget, and even development budget to save lives in both cases. At the same time, because those extremes also create a recession, we are not getting adequate tax revenues. So you can imagine, in fact, if the chairman can tell you, when you devour the development budget, it means that you remove the capacity for even future growth. So in a sense, we are struggling just to be on the same position. And that's why we actually, that's the same message I had in Marrakech, was that we are facing a serious liquidity crisis, and that is why we can't come in as fast as we would like to. But it's not a solvency problem. But sometimes people are rushed to say, we want the money today, otherwise you are dead on arrival. Sorry for using that word. But you end up taking measures to solve the problem, but those measures are not well coordinated, and they can actually ignite solvency challenges. We want to avoid that. But we are working very hard so that even before Christmas, we make sure that we make some few steps. By the way, I can tell you, we are even having trouble with salaries. We are clearing salaries with arrears. Okay? You know, just imagine that. The first thing we can do, and you are familiar with this story, is that we cannot default on external debt because our credibility is going to be ruined. It takes the first charge. But the team in the Treasury are working very hard. In fact, that's what I started looking at in the morning. I was even called by the governor in Nairobi County telling me that, look, I'm going to be impeached. What are we going to do? I have not given salaries. You can imagine it's a liquidity issue which is short term, but we are going to get there. We are going to get there very soon. We are working very hard round the clock to make sure that we are doing that. Most countries have recognized what kind of the economies like ours, especially in the Horn of Africa, are facing the same problem, and they are coming up with budget support. We are signing supports from different countries. So we are going to ride over this. But in the meantime, we are just begging for a little bit of time. We are working 24 hours to make sure that we resolve this. And we want to make sure that how we resolve it also does not ignite solvency challenges. So we're going to be there. But it's only that we cannot get what we want at the time we really desperately want it. But we be sure that tomorrow, the next day, life is also going to give us some signal. In fact, the pattern of rainfall is helping us even to actually distribute relief pattern, even support, even evacuating people who are in dangerous places. Remember, when the rains were going on, it was impossible to do that. So at least in every crowd, there is a silver lining that we are trying to utilize, and we are going to make sure that we utilize it to the maximum. Thank you very much, and I hope you bear with me and my colleagues at the Treasury and the totality of the government. We are all facing that crisis.
Yes.
Bwana CS, thank you so much for that elaborate explanation. But I would also like to ask, yesterday we saw an increase of interest rate from to 12.5. What is the effect on the domestic debt in that rise? Thank you.
Yes, Mheshimiwa. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Now, Bwana CS, I would like to say that I represent a rural area in Parliament, and I know what people are saying. We want to save your neck, Bwana CS. We are in a problem. You know, this is your second year. You are on with second year in office. But things have not been good. You remember when we were in Mombasa, we had to walk out in protest so that we get CDF. Our position at that time was threatened by Wananchi, saying, if we don't get CDF, you are going to see our wrath. Now we seem to be facing the same thing in our second year again. And why I feel concerned much is that the background of what is happening makes people wonder why we cannot even get CDF as we were doing before the current regime. One thing is that we are paying too much tax. And when you pay much tax, you expect revenue to be a lot more than before. The contrary is the situation. We seem not to be having any money at all, not just for CDF, but for everything. But CDF is touching the hearts of people. When I see us, I know if we go home without CDF, and we are going home the next day after tomorrow, closing Bunge tomorrow. If we go without any CDF money, we are just going to plunge ourselves into a burning fire. I was in the chamber when the speaker was on the floor. He explained to us that we are going to give some mere 9 billion Kenya shillings, which will be paid by about 20th of this month. 9 billion is nothing, really, zero. That therefore means by January we will not be having money to give bursary. All mothers, fathers are going to run to us, MPs, forcing us to give them something for fees. And of course, if the government cannot do it, who are we to do what the government cannot do as individuals? When I see us, you are putting us in a problem. So my last take is, whatever you can do, please make sure we do have money to pay bursary, because with us it is going to be simple. We will say, we spoke with the CS, he knows our concern. If your child is not going to school, don't hold me responsible because I pay tax. Hold the CS responsible. This is a plea, and I say it is a plea from Wananchi, not from me.
Okay,
as a person.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chairman. Oh, sorry.
I don't want to read from the book of Lamentation. I want to read from the book of Ecclesiastes to encourage you, Wanasias. I have known you as a honest and a truthful man. Please share the truth before time catches up with you. Share the truth. Say, kimeumana. Give me time, kidogo. You will be able to sort out the problem. With a pledge of about 9 billion, if it is shared by the 290 constituencies, you will get about 30 million or 20-something million per constituency for bursary. I want to encourage you that now we are done with 844. So the class 8 exams, they have no chance of repeating because the curriculum behind them is completely different. So all of them must proceed to high school. What does that mean? It implies that there will be need of bursaries for many Kenyan children because they can't go back there. So I encourage you to push a little bit. If you can be able to double that to 18B, or just work on a percentage between 40 to 50% release. You can suspend the money that you want to give to subsidy to boost the sugar cane and other things. Suit the children of Kenya, because that is the fabric of this nation. That is where it holds. I want to encourage you to explore options before Parliament start giving you serious demands. You have the capacity to hold some things that can hold. Even the fertilizer subsidy, that we gave budget of about 8 billion can hold, because it is meant for the next season for fertilizer. That's around March, April. But children are January 39. So there are things in this budget that you can hold for the sake of the children of Kenya. So offer to you, CS, continue being truthful, but that truthful should always come in good time.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and I've heard you, I've listened to you. This is a new administration. The other one is the regime. Please, let's make a difference. But the new administration faces the reality and tells the reality the way it is. But we are also sure that the world has mistreated us quite for 1 year. You can see the extremes. But let's hold on. We are trying to everything, just like you have said. Anything that is possible that can be done will be done to make sure that we don't get into that situation. The second one is that, Mheshimiwa, everybody is complaining that the exchange rate depreciation is actually feeding into domestic prices, which is pushing inflation. You have seen the question I was asked in your committee the other day, Mr. Chairman, why are we coming to the supplementary in the first quarter? What didn't you know? And I gave 2 examples. One is the devastating consequences of what we are facing, but the other one was actually the exchange rate movements and international interest structure is actually amplifying our external debt repayments and had increased our debt by 145 billion. That is close to 0.9% of the GDP, and it was threatening to raise our deficit from 4.4 to 5.3, which was unacceptable. In the end, we were only able to accommodate 0.3% to 4.7%, but it means that we have to raise 0.6%, that's about 90 billion, and we can raise that by, one, lower the expenditure by that amount, or look for resources elsewhere. That's why our leaders, His Excellency, is very busy contacting our friends so that we see how we can ride over that. So it means that we need a drastic policy action to halt this movement. But of course, I don't like talking about monetary policy a lot because the gurus are here. You know, I'm conflicted because I was a governor of the central bank. And I think those days, I think were those days, you see, you don't want to leave part. But I think Matu, do you want to mention what you anticipate with this? Because it's very important that he has mentioned it. What do we anticipate to achieve with this move? Do you want to say 1 or 2 things?
So I think the rationale for yesterday's decision is as the CS has said. So the issue is to slow down the exchange rate depreciation and also reduce the interest rate differential between ourselves and the advanced economies, because we have been losing foreign investors has been leaving our markets given that differential. So that's the ultimate aim, to address that exchange rate differential and the depreciation, and also the impact of the cost of living. So ultimately, it's expected to benefit the countries. That's what I would add.
Very much. CS, you should not shy away from commenting on macroeconomic things, because I still believe you are the best macroeconomist in this country, if not the world. Let me appreciate what the work which is going on in Treasury. You know, in April when we were in IMF World Bank talks, the talk was that the world was being surprised that we have not devoted in paying loans. I think that's actually the way they were saying is that after Ghana and Zambia, the third one was Kenya. But I appreciate that we are moving, because you see, when we were there, I happened to talk to people from Zambia and Ghana, and you know what they are saying? The government officers have been going without salaries for 6 months, because who want to loan somebody money who cannot pay? So I think that's a very, very good job which you are doing. But the issues of CDF is also very important. These members are scared of going back to home, and especially the new members. You know, the new members, they have nothing to hold on. So just work on something. If you can raise the 9 billion, that will be very important. And I understand, is it World Bank or IMF? They are giving us 100 billion for budget support. I don't know when, but if you get that one, make sure the CDF gets something.
Actually, you are right, Mr. Chairman. We have already concluded with the World Bank. The World Bank is almost concluding. The IMF is going to the board, but we also have talked to other countries like China. The president is just coming today from India, and we have talked about the same thing. I was in UAE. We had a whole meeting on Sunday morning on the same. But because everybody believes that once we ride over these shocks, we can ignite the growth momentum that we actually anticipated. Thank you so much for the faith.
And also make sure you pay the Eurobond. Yes. Thank you very much. The meeting stands adjourned.